Welcome to AM Best Audio.
On February 11th, the Kansas City Chiefs and San Francisco 49ers will square off in Las Vegas for Super Bowl LVIII. While many insurers will be watching the game, they will also be keeping a close eye on potential risks that may arise. Michael Giusti, an analyst at InsuranceQuotes.com, said insurers write more than $100 million in policies for the Super Bowl annually, and those policies cover everything from event cancellations to the health and safety of the players. I'm Lori Chortis for AM Best Audio, and Michael Giusti joins us now to discuss that. Michael, welcome. It's great to speak with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, Michael, the Super Bowl, it's such an exciting, highly anticipated event enjoyed by millions of viewers and those in attendance. But what potential risks surround that event?
I think the nightmare scenario would be something that caused the event to be canceled. We haven't had that happen, but a few years ago, there was a freak snowstorm that almost disrupted the game down in Dallas. And that type of thing would cost millions to insure. So thankfully, that's never happened. But, there's also risks like liability in case a fan is injured, or general property insurance in case the stadium gets damaged, or even the health and safety of the players. And really, that's not to say anything about the fans watching at home or betting on the game.
Have there been some big losses or claims during recent games?
Thankfully, despite the close calls, I can't bring to mind any major losses. No real worst case scenarios for sure. But every year, hundreds of small claims inevitably are going to be filed, even if it's just an auto insurance claim because of a fender bender down at a tailgate party. So you'll get a flood of claims, but thankfully, we don't have a horror story to talk about.
Wonderful. So what are some of the potential risks for the venue, which this year will be Allegiant Stadium, which is home of the Las Vegas Raiders, and what types of insurance coverages are needed by the venue?
The venue is going to be on the hook specifically if any employees or fans are injured, and then they can be showed to be negligent in some way. The employees are going to be covered by workers' comp, but you're going to have some liability insurance in case there's something like a loose hand railing, or we saw a fight at an NFL game, and if they were to come back and sue and say, this fight happened because we didn't have enough security, that could be a liability risk back on the stadium. There's also the property damage element. So, say one of the fireworks displays malfunctioned, or say a vendor overloaded an electric circuit and caused a fire. Those types of things definitely need to be insured by the venue itself.
And what about for the athletes?
So it's funny, we don't think of athletes as employees, but they are. They're employees doing a job. So, if they get hurt on the job, just like anyone else, they're going to be covered by workers' compensation. And that's actually part of their collective bargaining agreement. It said the league carries that workers' compensation plan that covers all the players. The league also has a group health insurance policy. So say you're playing in Kansas City, and then you get traded to San Francisco, you actually don't have to change your insurance. That it kind of follows you around the country. So that's kind of a benefit for the players. Same's not true, by the way, for coaches, but certainly for the players, it kind of follows them around. The league also has liability insurance in case something catastrophic happens, and we're all kind of keeping a wary eye on how the development around brain injury is going to come, and whether that's going to lead to some liability claims down the road. But that's definitely a shoe that everyone's hoping never drops. And it isn't specific to the Super Bowl, but there are also insurance policies that cover unfulfilled portions of the players' contracts. The NFL, it's less of a big deal for the teams, because if a player say gets injured, they've got a 10-year contract and they can only play for 2 years before a career-ending injury, they would get cut. And so the team wouldn't be on the hook for the rest of that contract. But some, like the baseball, MLB, they'd be on the hook no matter what. But the players themselves can take out policies that protect that unfulfilled portion of the contract. some of these contracts are guaranteed, even though they're allowed to be cut. And so then the teams can come back and insure that unfulfilled portion of the contract if they do have to pay it out, even though the player is injured. So that's a little esoteric player coverage, but I personally get fascinated by the contract implications.
Absolutely, yes. Nearly 500,000 Super Bowl fans are expected to attend this year's game in Las Vegas, many of whom will be traveling from all different kind of areas, all areas across the country. Ticket prices range anywhere from nearly $6,300 to more than $44,000, according to StubHub. Can you tell us about the need for event cancellation and ticket insurance in case a situation would arise that someone would need those coverages?
Yeah, I mean, the ticket sellers themselves do offer some coverage. If you're buying it from Ticketmaster, you're buying it from StubHub, oftentimes you can get a insurance policy right through them. And, if I was shelling out the cost of a small car to see a game, I think I'd certainly think about buying some coverage for that. But yeah, there's also trip insurance that you can buy either from a travel agent or through some of the third-party travel insurance policies, and those cover the whole trip, right? So you pay for it; it's priced according to how much the whole trip costs, and then they protect you from things that can't be refunded, and so that potentially could cover the game if you wanted to make sure a portion or all your ticket is being covered. It would also protect you in case say you missed your flight and couldn't make it to the game, right? So that's what those policies are great for. Neither of them are going to help you if you just change your mind and decide not to go, right? Fear of travel is never covered by these policies, but they would cover for an unexpected or unplanned event. So say you broke your leg and then you couldn't attend the game. That's where these policies really come through. Oddly, they're not event cancellation insurance. The ticket insurance isn't for event cancellation. So if you say that snowstorm canceled the event in Dallas, your ticket insurance would not cover it because that's one of the exclusions that's built in there. They also have exclusions around epidemics and terrorism, but let's not talk about those.
Exactly, yes. For those who won't be attending the game, many will be hosting Super Bowl watch parties. What potential exposures do they face, and how does liability insurance provide coverage for those risks?
Yeah, so if you're throwing a party at your home, your homeowners and your renters insurance are going to be your best friend. So these are the policies that are going to cover any damage to your home. And everyone kind of knows that. That's intuitive. But the piece that many people don't really think about when they think of homeowners or renters insurance is that liability portion. And so you're covered pretty substantially on that policy to protect you from liability in case something bad happens and you're on hook for the damage. So say you serve some 7-layer dip and everyone gets food poisoning and then they come and sue you for that. That's the type of liability that they would definitely protect you for. But more likely than everyone getting sick on 7-layer dip, hopefully, is there's another little known provision in these policies called accidental medical. And these are little policies, right? So they're no-fault payments of up to about $5,000 if someone is injured on your property, right? So it's not really a liability policy. It's just saying, hey, if someone trips and falls and has to go to the emergency room, we're going to spot you $5,000 just so nothing comes out of the person who gets hurt. Nothing comes out of their pocket. It covers immediate care, things like that, and it's really meant as a good faith payment to take care of your guests, so no lawsuit comes down later, right? So it's trying to take care of people to prevent further claims. It's important to note this is for your guests. That's not going to cover if you fall down or say your kids fall down. So someone who lives in the house wouldn't be covered. A little more scary is what's called social host liability. And say your party gets a little rowdy, you get some guests who have overindulged. They drink a little bit too much and then they get behind the wheel. In some states, if they get into an accident, you as the host can be on the hook. And your homeowners and renters insurance will often pick up the social host liability there for you. So it's definitely a good protection to have.
Customize your data experience. BestLink now offers an interactive company dashboard that provides company-level intelligence in a fast, user-friendly interface featuring interactive tables, charts, and Sparkline performance histories. Customize the dashboard tiles to prioritize the insurer ratings, data, and analytics that best support your workflow. AM Best. Our insight, your advantage.
And what about the highly anticipated halftime entertainment? Are performers responsible for carrying their own workers' comp for themselves and their backup performers and crew? And what other types of coverages do they need?
Yeah, so they're also employees doing a job, but they're not working for the venue. They're not working for the league. They're independent contractors. And energetic dancing is risky, right? That's an athletic event all itself, and so they do need to be covered. And so these performers, as the independent contractors, either they have to carry their own insurance, or the person who hired them to work with them. So maybe it's the producer, or maybe the famous act, whoever's hiring them and giving them the paycheck, they're going to be responsible for that workers' compensation. They're also likely going to, the producer or the performer, whoever's the names on the contract, is also going to be in charge of any liability insurance. Say, I mentioned those fireworks damaging the field, if they're the ones who installed them, they maybe need to reimburse the venue if the playing surface gets destroyed. So that would be covered by their liability policies. And there's also something called media liability insurance. And so that's going to step in if, say, someone had a copyright violation, or maybe a wardrobe malfunction that brought a huge FCC fine. That's the type of insurance that would step in there.
Commercials have become a big part of the Super Bowl, and advertisers spend big bucks to advertise during the game. And in fact, I just read the average ad price this year ranges from $4.5 million all the way up to $7 million. Can you talk about some of the potential exposures advertisers face and the need for advertising liability insurance?
Yeah, that's a lot of money to wager on a good ad. And so the ad agencies that make these advertisements, they're going to be carrying professional liability insurance, and that protects them in case they didn't fulfill some aspect of the contract with the advertisers. So say they didn't create the ad that Budweiser asked for, Budweiser could turn around and sue the ad agency, and so that professional liability is going to protect them. The network's going to also have some professional liability insurance in case something beyond their control kept the ad from running. They're probably not protected if their producer fails to hit play, but say, I think there was a Super Bowl a number of years ago when the power went out at one of the stadiums. And, so if something like that's just out of their control kept the ad from running, and the advertiser demands their money back, that liability insurance, professional liability insurance could step in. There's also personal injury insurance. And whenever I hear personal injury insurance, I think of slip and fall, but that's not what they're talking about. This type of insurance will cover any defamation case. So say one of the advertisements calls out their competitor and they end up getting sued for libel, that professional injury insurance or personal injury insurance will step in and kind of protect. Sadly, though, there's no insurance policy that's going to protect the advertiser from themselves. So making a boneheaded creative choice on your commercial that's unfortunately uncoverable.
So, Michael, any final thoughts to share? Any advice for insurers ahead of the big game?
I think the key is to enjoy yourself, but make sure that you're protected for the unknown. And that's really where insurance shines.
Absolutely. And any predictions for this year's game?
Oh, I think that it's going to be a fun game, and I suspect we're going to get some nice candid shots of some celebrities.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, Michael, this has been so informative. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
That was InsuranceQuotes.com analyst Michael Giusti. For AM Best Audio, I'm Lori Chortis.
Looking to get the attention of the insurance industry? We have the platforms to do just that. Whether it be AM Best TV, AM Best Audio, Best Review Magazine, or Best Day, find out more by contacting our Advertising Services Business Development Team at 908-882-1706.